Hello everyone and welcome to my series, Jackson Watches. In this video I'll be providing a breakdown of the Star Wars Andor Finale and giving my review on the episode. If you haven't seen the finale yet and you don't want spoilers then click away now. We start the episode on the eve before Marva's funeral with Wilman creating a homemade explosive device with the hologram of his dad on the worktop beside him, reminding him of the pain the Empire has caused Wilman. For those that need reminding, Wilman's father was tortured by the ISB earlier in the season and then hung for treason to the Empire. We transition to Dedra Meero arriving on Ferrix in an Imperial shuttle with Death Troopers escorting her to the hotel where the ISB have set up their headquarters on Ferrix. We see a glimpse of Bix, still held captive by the Empire in the hotel and a complete shell of her former self. If you look closely you can see Dedra checking on her through the security intercom on the door whilst notifying the ISB Captain Vanis of her plan to walk around the town with Corv. As they scout out the town, Cinta is seen following them, keeping tabs on Corv like previous episodes. Zan meets up with Brazo, informing him that Cassian has recently called into the shop, asking about Marva and that Cassian now knows about her death and the upcoming funeral. Brazo warns Zan to keep it quiet as there are Imperial spies watching the town and Marva's home. Nurchi, who was spying on Brazo and Zan, has a chat with Brazo attempting to find out more information about Cassian to notify the ISB. The episode shifts from Ferrix to Coruscant, where we find Mon Mothma waiting for her husband Perrin outside an establishment in their vehicle with her driver Cloris present. Mon Mothma asks Cloris for some privacy, knowing full well that he will be listening to their conversation. As we know, Mon had an inkling he was an Imperial spy in previous episodes and likely informing the ISB of her activity. Mon Mothma falsely accuses her husband of gambling their money, knowing Cloris will likely go away and inform the ISB of her husband's reported gambling problems, thereby creating a cover story for the discrepancies in her finances used for the rebel cause. In a conversation, Mon Mothma mentions Canto Bight, a reference to the casino world last seen in Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, where Finn and Rose were sent to find the Master Codebreaker. Jumping back to Ferrix, we learn that Vel has also arrived and is waiting for Cinta in her apartment. Vel was annoyed that Cinta didn't meet her and Cinta explains that she was busy following Corv and is aware his ISB supervisor is now on Ferrix. Vel and Cinta put two and two together and realise that Cassian must be coming to Ferrix for the funeral if a high-ranking ISB member is present, and reiterate the fact that they need to get to Cassian first to kill him. Cassian, now also on Ferrix, is sneaking around the town under the cover of darkness, and visits Clem's stone brick. Cassian remembers a life lesson Clem once taught him as a boy: a man who sees everything is more blessed than cursed. Cassian climbs over the wall into the yard of Marva's home and is surprised to find Pegler, an old friend who works in the shipyard and is keeping an eye on the place until it can be sold. Pegler tells Cassian how much his mother meant to him, and Cassian finds out through Pegler that Bix is being held hostage in the hotel. At this point, Bix has practically lost her mind, like the pilot from Rogue One, who was also subject to torture through the hands of Bor Gullet, everyone's favourite alien and meme under the command of Saw Gerrera. Cassian listens to the words of Nemik regarding the rebellion whilst pondering over the events to come. It's now the day of the funeral and the ISB are preparing for the day ahead and the impending trap set for Cassian. Dedra informs the rest of the ISB captains that she wants Andor alive and for all snipers to stand down. The town appears on edge as we await the funeral procession to start at 2 o'clock. We cut to Coruscant as Cloris is at the ISB headquarters informing Blevin of Mon Mothma's conversation she had with her husband, as per Mon Mothma's plan. Blevin admits that Mon Mothma is of great interest to the ISB and for Cloris to keep listening. Blevin is interrupted by a fellow ISB officer and joins the gathering where we learn that Anto Krieger and the 30 men are dead, as per the plan Luthen set with Jun, the rebel mole inside the ISB. Dedra is contacted by the ISB and is frustrated that they are all dead and cannot be interrogated, like she hopes to do with Cassian, and is told to find Axis. Luthen has also arrived on Ferrix looking for an opportunity to kill Cassian during the funeral, and to observe the ISB and Dedra to further understand his enemy. As Luthen plays homage to the Great Darth Maul, he heads into town to get ready for the funeral to begin. Corv is having his morning coffee and keeping an eye on Marva's home, waiting for any sign of Andor, but he notices that a different person has left the home instead of Pegler and that something is going on. Meanwhile, Pegler and Andor have gone into the hidden tunnel in Marva's home, the same tunnel Marva wanted to use to take the ISB by surprise and start an uprising before she died. Cassian and Brazo embrace in the tunnel and Cassian shows remorse for Marva's death, as he couldn't keep his promise in returning to Ferrix and how he should have never left his mum when he did. Brazo comforts Cassian with an emotional speech from Marva and how she knows that none of it is his fault. Brazo finishes by telling Cassian that Marva loves him more than anything he could ever do wrong, and Cassian informs Brazo he is going to rescue Bix from the hotel against all the odds. Brazo says goodbye and leaves to start the funeral procession. Finally, everyone's favourite simp lord, Cyril, is shown arriving on Ferrix and it's good to see him away from his mum and his cereal. As everyone is getting ready for the funeral and waiting for Cassian to show, Nurchi is keeping an eye on Marva's house and starts to work out that Cassian may be in town. Luthen meets up with Vel in town, literally hiding in plain sight from the Empire, and discusses whether Cassian has come home or not. Vel informs Luthen that the ISB believes so and that a female ISB supervisor is present with a garrison. Luthen is happy about this as they will do his dirty work for him, and knows that they will take Cassian alive back to their hotel HQ where Luthen and Vel could kill him easily. As they are talking, the Beskar anvil in the town starts chiming, indicating the funeral procession is starting, earlier than scheduled and catching the ISB off guard. Luthen heads off to the hotel to get in position whilst Vel goes to find Cinta to regroup. As Luthen heads towards the hotel, Cassian spots him, realising he is on Ferrix to kill him. Wilmon and Korv both blend in with the mourners making their way to the town square. Cinta is also in the crowd following Korv, despite Vel believing she is watching Marva's home. The ISB and the garrison begin preparing their perimeters and await the funeral and the arrival of Andor. Nurchi finds Korv and tells him he knows where Andor is, and Korv takes Nurchi to the hotel where they notify Dedra. Another nice touch here is where we see Luthen hiding in plain sight again, this time right behind Sybil, but as we saw in episode 1, Sybil never saw Luthen and only heard his voice. The funeral procession reaches the square and the ceremony begins, and we see Wilmon, Andor and Bix all reacting to the funeral song being played by the marching band. Sybil sees Dedra and instantly wants to go over and see her before being stopped by his friend. Luthen also finally gets a glimpse at his adversary. Dedra goes to investigate Andor's suspected hiding place, but is nowhere to be seen whilst the funeral procession marches on towards the hotel, with tensions running high between the mourners and the ISB. Stone and Sky is chanted over and over again before B2 Emo projects Marva into the sky. Marva gives a valiant speech about waking up to the tyranny of the Empire, and the ISB stop B2 Emo from finishing the recording, resulting in violence between the two sides. Luthen looks on with a smirk as he witnesses a rebellion rising. Cassian has made it to the hotel and finds Bix, completely out of it, and manages to get her out of the hotel as the ISB garrison are distracted by the mourners and the fighting. During all the commotion, Wilmon launches his homemade bomb behind the line of the ISB troops, causing a chain reaction of explosion resulting in Nurchi dying and showing that it doesn't pay to be a snake. The ISB garrison opens fire on the mourners and all hell breaks loose. Korv realises he is being followed by Cinta, who doesn't hold back in killing him whilst Dedra finds herself in a precarious position and our boy Sybil saves her from the people of Ferrix. Dedra is visibly shaken, says thank you to Sybil, and for a moment looks like Sybil may get both the girl and a promotion. Cassian manages to escape the square to the junkyard with Bix and leaves her with B2MO, Brazo, Wilmon and Jesse and tells them to flee the planet now. Cassian promises he will find them and watches them fly off of Ferrix. We go back to Coruscant and see that Mon Mothma has made her decision to allow her daughter to be introduced to Davos Skolden's son, knowing she has no other choice as she needs his backing to bankroll the rebellion movement. We end the episode with Cassian confronting Luthen on his ship and giving him a choice, either kill him or let him join the rebellion, leading to Luthen giving us a smile and the finale ending. Second spoiler warning here as we get an end credit scene which was wild, finally giving us confirmation that the prisoners were contributing to the construction of the Death Star. It makes sense as to why none of them got to leave when their prison term had ended, as the Death Star was a very well kept secret. Wow, what a finale to an all-round excellent series. The episode managed to blend story, action and emotion beautifully whilst maintaining the high standards of production we've now come to expect from the series. The show has really divided the fanbase, with some of the fans and YouTube channels saying it's some of the best Star Wars content we've ever received, and others complaining that it's boring and doesn't feel very Star Warsy. I'm in the former camp and think this is probably the best produced Star Wars show or film we've received in the Disney era. The acting, script, story and visuals were all fantastic. I'm giving the finale and the show as a whole a 9 out of 10 and eagerly await season 2 of the show. Let's hope Kino Loy managed to find a way off the prison and we see him again. Thanks again for watching this breakdown and my review. If you like what you watched, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to my channel. It would mean a lot as I'm new to content creating. I hope to see you next time.